Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Today's battle isn't a particularly long one, but I hope you'll agree that it's worth it all the same. I'd like to say why, but that would be a massive spoiler, so I'm afraid you're just going to have to trust your Uncle Jingles. And yes, I realise that that's a bit of an ask, because I am nothing if not a treacherous old bastard, but, well, trust me. Anyway. This is Pagonis here on the Ruinberg map, and he is in the Tier 8 Soviet non-premium tank destroyer, the ISU-152, a machine that used to be everybody's favourite go-to tank destroyer because of the mighty troll cannon that it used to equip, the infamous BL-10 gun with 268mm of penetration and 750 average damage. As I'm sure you're all aware, Wargaming decided that a gun like that was just far too overpowered to be on a Tier 8 tank destroyer, so it was removed from the ISU-152 and they substituted a new gun, the 152mm D4S, which is the gun that Pagonis is sporting here. But of course, when Wargaming say that something is too overpowered to have on a Tier 8 tank destroyer, they just mean it's too overpowered for you to have for free. And it wasn't long before they introduced a premium ISU-152K, with the very BL-10 gun that they insisted was far too overpowered for anybody to have on a Tier 8 tank destroyer. What's truly bizarre about the whole thing is that Wargaming had insisted, as the friendly T-30 up ahead, suicides. Don't worry, there's going to be a lot of that about. The team have already lost the Barask, there goes the T-30. But the bizarre thing about the whole situation was that Wargaming insisted that the BL-10 gun was too overpowered because it did 750 alpha damage and had 268mm penetration. So they replaced it with a gun that does 750 alpha damage and has 260mm penetration. Yeah. Oh, team's lost another tank. T-34-1 has managed to get himself killed. That's 3 tanks down, and we're only a minute and a half into the battle. That's pretty impressive, even by World of Tanks standards. Various different team members in chat. Oh, there goes a Super Pershing. Are already proclaiming that we've lost because of the stupid team. This from the Barask, who was the first one to die. Although, to be completely fair to the Barask, who is being a bit of a toxic arsehole in chat, he kind of has a point. Because, believe it or not, despite the fact that he was the first one to die, and the team have just lost a T-71 as well, they're now down 5 tanks, a full third of the team, after only 3 minutes of the game have elapsed. But that Barask, the first tank to die on the team, is actually going to get a better result than 7 of his teammates. And the team have also just lost an EBR Hotchkiss. They're now down 6 kills to nothing. Also, can I just point out, I don't know if you've noticed, but the M46 pattern... Oh, nice shot. Right there, who's with Pagonis? He doesn't even have the 105mm gun. That's one of the 90mm guns, I'm not sure which, but he's not fully upgraded. And in the time that it took me to point that out, the team have lost another 2 tanks. An ISM and an SU-100 M1. They're down 8 kills to nothing. And the battle isn't even 3 minutes old. 6 members of this team, almost half of the team, have done 0 damage. And even with the team losing 8 kills to none, it's going to get worse before it gets any better. And no, I don't mean the pattern firing and accidentally clipping Pagonis instead. That didn't actually do any damage, fortunately. No, I mean, right now they're 9 kills down, as the enemy Barask has just finished off the CS-59, who was the last holdout in the village over on the eastern map border. 9 kills to nothing, before Pagonis takes out the T-28 prototype and gets the team's first kill. Quickly backed up by the M46 Patton, who, with his cute little 90mm gun, takes out the enemy Panther. Now, I'm sure there are going to be some people saying in the comments, because I've been doing this for a while now and I know how YouTube works, that if Pagonis had been a bit more aggressive, things would never have gotten quite this bad. And while it is easy to sit and render judgment from the comfort and safety of YouTube, and I should know because it's pretty much what I do, I'd make the counter-argument that, lumbered with a team as bad as this, the only thing that it's likely Pagonis would have achieved in a Tier 9 battle, trying to lead from the front in a Tier 8 tank destroyer with terrible concealment and even worse armour, would be to get himself an awful lot more dead than he currently is. They are now only 6 kills behind, which is another way of saying they are only outnumbered slightly more than 2 to 1. But we're now at the stage of the battle where any of his teammates who have actually managed to do some damage, so all but 6 of them, have left targets like that Conqueror on low enough health that the ISU can now one-shot them all. Or so we hope. And in fact there are some machines on the enemy team, like the Super Hellcat, that he wouldn't even need anybody else to damage first. P-43 looking like a very likely victim there. I'm just going to pause the battle again here in order to point out something more than a little ridiculous. That's his 3rd kill, the kill on the P-43. He now has as many kills as the rest of his team combined between them. But despite the fact that he's beginning to rack up the kills, he's actually in a worse position now than he was a couple of minutes ago when they were losing 9 kills to nothing. Because in that space of time, he's been reduced to 2 surviving teammates, which means that now they're actually outnumbered 3 to 1. Pagonis still has all of his health, but he doesn't have any armour. The IS-3M is on his own, but he still has a fair amount of health remaining. And he also has his gun reloaded just in time to say hello to the AMX-1375, who finished off the artillery. But the M46 Patton here, who only has the cute little 90mm gun, is on extremely low health. Although he does have 307 more health than that LTG now does, but that's not a great situation in which to find yourself in a what might be completely stock M46 Patton. The IS-3M kills the Super Hellcat. The M46, realising that he's got exactly nothing to lose, manages to kill the Somwa SM. With his flank secure, Pagonis is now able to give some more direct fire support to the IS-32 over there. Sorry, I know I just called it an IS-3M, but hey, what else is new? Not enough to kill the Super Pershing, but enough to make him seriously question his choices. The Centurion appears to have woken up with his pants on his head. He was out of line of fire, and between him and the Super Pershing they had the IS-32 caught in a pincer. But instead of staying there and forcing the IS-32 to choose who he was going to angle his armour against, he went to join the Super Pershing, which allowed the IS-32 to angle against both of them at the same time, and everybody else to shoot at both of them. But Jingles, the M46, could have been shooting at him. Well, we don't know that for a fact. I mean, the M46 could have been occupied with the Defender, but let's just say that that was true. The M46 only has a 90mm gun. Pagonis doesn't. But however we ended up here, for the first time in this game, they're suddenly not outnumbered. Now the Defender could have been a problem, because he has a gun that has even more penetration if you press the 2 key than the ISU-152, but that's perfectly fine to have on a tier 8 heavy tank because it's a tier 8 premium heavy tank. Fortunately, neither the M46 with the cute little 90mm gun nor the IS-32 messed around. They did not just leave Pagonis there to fight it out on his Jack Jones. They backed him up, and between the 3 of them they completely annihilated the Defender. And that just leaves the GW Panther, who's probably asking himself the question, how the hell did we manage to throw this game? We were winning 9 kills to nothing just 3 minutes ago. This is one of those moments where I would have given nearly anything to have been able to see the enemy team's chat. Can you just imagine the outpouring of rage, recrimination and toxicity that must be going on over there right now? It must be glorious. There's not a lot I wouldn't have given to be able to see it. Oh, and there's the GW Panther. Well, at least he didn't try to kill himself. And he went down fighting. But one way or another, he's definitely going down. And there's the possibly stock M46 Patton with his cute little 90mm gun. Survived, not entirely intact, but hey, he did survive right to the end. It's actually a bit of a shame. I mean, there's an ace tanker badge there, which is certainly nothing to be sniffed at, and he did get a high caliber. But that's all. If only they'd thought to themselves to form a battlefield platoon, there would have been a crucial contribution medal there, because between the 3 of them they killed 12 of the enemy team. And what's possibly more remarkable is that they only did that after they'd almost lost an entire 2/3 of their own team. Speaking of their own team, have a look at those sad sacks at the bottom of the team list. 0 damage, between the T-71, T-30, Hotchkiss EBR, SU-100M1, ISM and T-34-1. That's pretty special even by World of Tanks random battle standards. That's what Pagonis, the IS-32 and the M46 had to carry between them. Do you remember the Barask who was raging in chat? The first one to die on the team. Look at where he is on the team list. I think that alone is probably the best indication of just how mind-bogglingly shit this team was, because the Barask, who was the first one on the team to die when less than a minute of the game had elapsed, has managed to do better than 7 of his teammates. And while you're sitting there trying to wrap your head around just how colossally shit this team was, do try to keep one very important thought in the back of your mind. The other team lost to them. Remember, kids, if you can't take a joke, you shouldn't be playing World of Tanks. And on that bombshell, thank you to everyone involved. Take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.